Patriots have the easiest path to the Super Bowl in modern NFL history. The Patriots blew out the Titans by 21 points on Saturday, and now they're a big favorite against the Jaguars, and if they win, they'll face either Case Keenum or Nick Foles in the Super Bowl. Shannon, what does it say?
Skip, it almost seems oxymoronic to say the least impressive of a Super Bowl run, because that's what they're on here. But I think when you look at it and you look at the teams that they've had to beat, the Tennessee Titans, and if they get by the Jags, you're talking about the 3 and the 5 seed. It's not their fault. They take care of business. They don't worry about what's going to happen once we get to the destination. They embrace the journey, and they make sure they cross all their I's, dot all their T's, make sure the car's functioning properly before they go on this journey. Everybody else starts looking down the road and says, well, Coach, that's not how Coach Belichick is. I can't blame the Patriots. Also, is because if they get to the Super Bowl, they're going to play a team. Either one of these teams have a backup quarterback, a journeyman backup quarterback at that. Skip, it just says that they've been able to avoid injury to the most important position in football. It also says that the pitfalls and the landmines that could have got them nipped like they did Pittsburgh, like it did Kansas City, that could have befallen them, that didn't happen. But you think about, there's a possibility Tom Brady could beat Marcus Mariota and Blake Bortles and get to a Super Bowl. Normally, they would have to go through a Roethlisberger. Normally, they'd have to go through a Peyton Manning or maybe an Andrew Luck. And so over the years, they've had to beat Phillip Rivers and Joe Flacco, although Joe Flacco is regular season Joe Flacco is not the Joe Flacco that normally shows up in the playoffs. But Skip, this would, and I hate saying this because it's like almost like a quiet ride or jumbo shrimp, oxymoronic. But this is, I'm looking at this like, wow, they could actually go to the Super Bowl by beating the 3 and the 5 seed. But it happens when you play in the AFC and you play in the AFC East, because guess what happens? They normally always have home field advantage, because you read off Brady's resume in playoffs, and it's very impressive. But one stat he didn't read off, Joey, Skip Bayless, if you don't mind me asking, can you tell the people at home Tom Brady's playoff record away from Gillette Stadium?
What'd your researcher tell you?
I don't know what he told me. I asked you, Skip.
I didn't look it up.
Yeah, you did. You know it.
I don't know it.
Tom Brady, Joey. Tom Brady is sub 500 away from Gillette Stadium. He has not won a road playoff game since 2006 in the divisional round against the San Diego Chargers.
That's interesting.
His last 3 championship games on the road, if you don't mind me asking, Skip, can you tell the people at home his last 3 playoff championship games? Can you tell them what his record is?
I was thinking about that December game at Miami against that Cutler guy. Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Joey, if you don't mind me asking, you remember? Do you remember if that was a playoff game?
It was not a playoff game.
A road to the playoff game in the AFC
So
East.
if you don't mind me asking, the last 3 road championship playoff games for Tom Brady, the people at home that do not have researchers like you and I, but can you tell them at home what's Tom Brady's record?
I don't have a Heisman Trophy winning researcher.
I knew this. I did this on my own.
Yeah. Oh, did you really?
Yes.
I don't know. Tell me, Seer. Tell me. Ofer.
15,
So are you,
13, and 9.
Okay, are you trying to make the case that Aaron Rodgers is actually the greatest quarterback ever? Is that what we're doing? Well, I'm just asking.
You do that?
I want to know what's the narrative here. Where are you going with this?
I'm saying while you was reading off Tom Brady's playoff resume, it is ultra impressive. But I'm just trying to say, I noticed you didn't mention his road playoff record.
Do Super Bowls count on the road because they're at neutral sites away from Gillette Stadium? Do they count?
Skip. I don't know. Are they playoff record?
I'm going to count them.
Okay, well, you count them.
So he's 5-2 in those games. That's pretty great. So 5 Super Bowls.
Well, I'm saying, that's not what the NFL do. The NFL says that Tom Brady's playoff record is sub 500. They say he's 3-4. That's what they, or what we say, they. That's what they.
So are you discounting?
Well, see, that
I want to know. What's your point?
Why you
do that? Your point is what?
My point is
he's not the greatest ever.
My point is that what they do is that they get home field. They realize that
that's the object. You know?
They realize that it's a lot easier to get to the Super Bowl if that road come through your house. That's all I'm saying.
That is
Skip.
the point. That's what everybody's goal is in the whole league. We want to play 2 games after 2 weeks off to get to the Super Bowl,
Correct.
right? It's actually kind of rigged for the number 1 seed,
Right.
right? It's almost unfair what happens.
But they're the only one that understands.
All right.
He's 18-3 in said home game.
Okay? So I'm going to give you this point, or give 538 this point. Obviously, Tennessee going to Kansas City was an upset. I'm not going to say it's a huge upset because Kansas City at home in playoff games, you know that record. It's
Well, Kansas
really
City
started
in
to look
playoff games since Joe Montana.
That's what I'm saying. So, was I shocked by it? Well, if Travis Kelce hadn't gone down in the second quarter, I'm pretty sure Kansas City would have hung on in that game. I don't know it for a fact, but I believe it. Would Kansas City been a little more dangerous going back to Foxborough, where they, on opening Thursday night, crushed the Patriots? Sure they would be. Do I think Kansas City would have beaten New England? I do not. Because Kansas City, as you know, has teetered all year long since opening Thursday night or after the hot start that they had. So, did you get a break against Tennessee? Yeah, but a lot of people are making the case, boy, Tennessee's defense is dangerous, and Mariota can run, and blah, blah. And then I hear Mariota hurt his quad. I don't know. This quad thing's going around. Kawhi's got it. Tony Parker's got it. I don't know what it is, but Mariota apparently caught it on Saturday night.
Well, that's Kawhi from kicking all those boards. You know he's a black
kicked
belt.
the boards. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to leave that be for right now. So, Tennessee was no problem for New England. But some people are thinking, gee, Jacksonville went to Pittsburgh and upset a team that could have gone up to Foxborough with that flying circus of an offense and all those weapons, and maybe one of these times it would have broken through just on law of averages. Ben would have a hot hand with all those weapons, and Tom would have a not hot hand. I got to tell you, this is much more dangerous, and again, I'm not a Patriot fan, but I'm a Brady fan, or at least a Brady defender. You have been telling me all week that Jacksonville is more dangerous than Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes.
Because you're making a strong case that Jacksonville, with the number 2 ranked defense to the statistically number 1 Minnesota Vikings, the eye test tells you it's arrived. And what have you told me all week? It's the perfect antidote to Brady's offense, right? It's got some kryptonite going because it's Sacksonville. It was second in the NFL to Pittsburgh in sacks. And you told me it can get home with the front 4. And the last time Tom Brady saw Malik Jackson in a playoff game, what happened? You remember that one?
Yeah, I do.
And what was he doing? Malik Jackson, the defensive tackle now for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was then a Denver Bronco,
right,
and he was pushing the pocket right down Tom's throat all day long. Am I right?
Yep.
And Tom is leaning back, throwing off his back foot, and all of a sudden, Vaughn's getting outside the tackle, and Tom's going down. And
D. Ware on the other side.
Here he comes. So they had the antidote, and here comes off the edge Calais, Ngakoue, Fowler. They can all fly around off the edge. And then the linebackers with Miles Jack and Telvin Smith, they're just so young and explosive and talented. And Posluszny is still there, who's a veteran plugger.
He can plug the run.
He knows how to play. And then you got arguably the new next, the new best corner in football is number 20. Trust me, Brady's somewhere going click. 20, I'm watching 20, I'm watching 20. Jalen Ramsey and Boye, you've already made the case strategically that you can just say, Jalen Ramsey, you got that big dude, right?
Yep.
You got Gronkowski. And Boye, you got Brandon Cooks. And then you just say, let's go play, right?
Yep.
Safeties are pretty good. Barry Church from the Cowboys he's veteran. You can try. He is a safe safety to have. And Tayshaun Gibson is pretty good. He's been nicked, but he's pretty good. So it's a solid group, right?
Yep.
So why wouldn't that be more dangerous to Tom Brady coming in with who had the number 1 running attack in pro football this year, the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I think the thing is, Skip, is they look at quarterback play because they know this is a quarterback-driven league, and when you look at those 2 quarterbacks, nobody's going to because at some point in time, even in all of Tom Brady's Super Bowl, he's had to play a guy that we thought of as was great at the time. Kurt Warner was a Super Bowl MVP. He was a league MVP. He beat him in the his first Super Bowl. He beat Peyton Manning in 2003 on the way to the Super Bowl. He beat Peyton Manning and Roethlisberger again in 2004 on the way to another Super Bowl. He played McNabb in that Super Bowl. And then in 2011, he faced Eli Manning. He faced Joe Flacco. Flacco and Andrew Luck and Russell Wilson. So what we're seeing, Skip, is not so much the team per se, the quarterback. What type of quarterback play? And I think when you look at it, is that the Tennessee Titans leave a lot to be desired with their quarterback play.
Yeah.
Blake Bortles has played well in spurts. Played unbelievable last
did.
week. I thought he made every throw that he needed to make. And so I think that's when you look at it, Skip, because nobody thought going into the season that Tennessee Titans, Jacksonville Jaguars would be in the way of Tom Brady's ability to get to his 8th Super Bowl.
Okay, but in the end, aren't we back to the age-old cliche of defenses win championships? So what's happened with the Final Four? Who's left in the Final Four?
They got 3 of the top 4.
The number 1 defense, the number 2 defense, the number 4 defense, and the number 5 defense. 4 of the top 5?
Yeah, scoring
So
defense.
what does that tell you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this. I know 538 was just talking about the path to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
But let's say the Vikings, who are favored to do this, go to Philadelphia and win. They will be the first team ever to play a home field Super Bowl in what many people believe has once again become the loudest building in the National Football League, the loudest arena, a Thunderdome up in Minneapolis. The Minnesota Vikings have the number 1 ranked defense, right? So for Tom Brady to have to face the number 2 defense, albeit at home, but a defense you think has arrived,
Yes.
and then have to go play the number 1 ranked defense in its Thunderdome in Minneapolis, I got to tell you, I think there's some degree of difficulty to that.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree, Skip. But I just think the thing is that you look at it, you didn't think Tennessee and Jacksonville could possibly be the pieces that would keep Tom Brady from getting to number 8. We thought it would be some of these. A lot of people thought it would be Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh started talking in March. Keith Butler said, we play too much zone.
Okay.
Skip, this was in March. Coach Tomlin's talking about doing an interview with Coach Dungy, talking about it's going to come down to us. And so for a lot of people thought, and I don't know what they thought about if Andrew Luck was going to be healthy. They thought the Ravens would rebound because Joe Flacco is 2 years removed from that ACL surgery. So I just don't think that people thought Tennessee and Jacksonville, of all the teams that could possibly.
But I'm not being a hypocrite about this. I said it last week. I picked Jacksonville to win at Pittsburgh because I thought Pittsburgh was just a troubled football team, and I didn't like the way they set up the game, the way they talked before the game. And I also made the point that I thought Jacksonville would be a more dangerous matchup going to Foxborough.
Yeah.
And here they are. And you love them.
I do. I like them. But I do not blame the Patriots and Tom Brady that he's been able to avoid the big injury like some of the quarterbacks in the NFC and even some of the quarterbacks in the AFC. But the one thing you know about the Patriots, they do not overlook anyone. And we've seen in the playoffs this year, especially in the AFC, we've seen teams look past the team, thinking about the team that they were going to face next.
All right, fine. Last quick point. If Tom Brady manages to get by the Jacksonville Jaguars,
I ain't putting no asterisk by it.
Well, it's going to be tough, man. And I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion, but if he manages to get by them, and he does have to go to Minnesota to play the Super Bowl, the other quarterback threw 22 touchdowns to only 7 interceptions this year and was number 2 in QBR to your guy, Carson Wentz. And if we disqualify Carson Wentz because he didn't play in the last 3+ games, then Case Keenum was number 1 in QBR in the National Football League.
Well, Walker Tua would have been number 1. Nick Foles threw 4 touchdowns against the Giants. I feel very comfortable in saying Walker Tua would have had 6.
Okay, well, I'll give you that. So Case Keenum was number 2 in QBR. And against the New Orleans Saints' 10th-ranked defense, albeit in the Thunderdome the other day, he threw for 318 yards. So is he chopped liver? I mean, I don't think he is. I think that would be a very tough matchup.
I just don't think, Case Keenum.
I don't know.
He's still a
I
journeyman.
respect him. No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
He's a starter. He started like 40 games.
How many teams have he been on? How many teams have he been on?
That's not his fault. That was their fault.
That is his fault.
They all watch what's going to be his fault when he goes on the free agent market. Tell me how much he's going to get.
Oh, but that's Skip.
He's going to get $25 million.
Free agency is not about being good. It's about being free.
Yeah, and what someone's going to pay you. LeBron was complaining again yesterday, and we'll discuss that with Chris Broussard.
Stop it, Joe. He wasn't complaining.